motorcade route. Something, I repeat, has happened in the motorcade route.
Who controls the past, controls the future. Who controls the present, controls the past.
The death of bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat al-Qaeda.
All you got to do is start looking around, start thinking for yourself, start investigating things, and you will see it all right there. So you have the power. Humanity has the power. We have the power. Do you want to fight? You better believe you got one!
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories.
As for me, give me liberty or give me death!
The answer to 1984 is 1776.
Well, my friends, it's April 10th on this Wednesday edition. 5 days from now, many of you that aren't on the welfare system yet, don't worry, the rest of you will be soon enough if the New World Order has its way. It's the time on April 15th when you pay more of your private Federal Reserve notes, I mean, it is their notes, to the private banking cartel. But alas, today is April 10th, 2013, and I am your host, Alex Jones, and this is yet another edition of Infowars Nightly News. And believe me, tonight is a very special edition of the transmission. This and a lot more is coming up.
Tonight, Joe Biden calls Second Amendment advocates the black helicopter crowd.
Kind of scary, man. Black helicopter crowd really is upset.
Then, a DHS-funded course is asking cops if they will confiscate guns from Christians. And environmentalists sign a petition in Austin, Texas to ban water? No way. All that and more up next on the Infowars Nightly News.
All right, first off tonight, we premiered on last night's news the footage shot here locally in Austin a few days ago by Jakari Jackson and David Knight, where the mayor pro tem and city council member Mike Martinez is trying to win the Santa Ana or King George or Kim Jong-un award, came out and said, hey, we are going to ban your guns once we register them. And the whole crowd laughs and snickers as they assault the two pro-gun people there peacefully with signs. And then the media, local media, lied about them and said that the pro-gun people were bad. Just amazing levels of propaganda. And then Art Acevedo, we're going to get to that piece in a minute, came over to confront Jakari and say, look, tell Alex he's wrong. I don't want a gun ban. I just want to, quote, track criminals getting guns. Yeah, right. When in every case they end up going after the guns. So our story has gone viral, and that video, Democrat admits Obama agenda is a total gun ban. He said, quote, we will make your sign legitimate shortly, which says stop gun ban. And he's saying, obviously we are going to do that next after we register. And they have this double game going where they deny the fact that they want to register and then confiscate, even though that's their official plan. And then when we talk about it, they make fun of us and say it doesn't exist. Like, there's no 2 billion bullets, there's no drones, there's no NSA warrantless wiretapping, there's no TSA sticking their hands down your pants, there's no radiation from the body scanners. Lies, lies, lies on top of lies. And I've never seen the lies at this level because they're making their full move right now. I mean, hell, they took the Europeans' guns, so now they can take their bank accounts. They're getting ready for that here and openly announcing it. Meanwhile, Joe Biden comes out and says, hey, there's no gun registry. We're going to do a whole piece on this week. The ATF's been caught by Congress, and they keep doing it, keeping an entire list when you do the NICS check with your name, social security number, and the type of firearm you're getting. They ask shotgun, rifle, or handgun, and then they have a record there that also ends up getting digitized in many cases. So it's a complete lie. But his answer is the black helicopter crowd. Of course, in the last month, there have probably been 30 drills we know of with black helicopters. So they're having drill after drill, gun confiscation drills, training that Christians are terrorists, gun owners are terrorists. There's black helicopters crashing, gun confiscation activity going on, and then they just say none of it exists. This is a cult. They want you to buy into the fact that you'll be socially ridiculed if you admit what's going on outside. Classical tyranny unfolding on every front. So here's a video clip of Biden making jokes about the black helicopter crowd. That means the common sense crowd. If you don't trust known liars, you're a conspiracy theorist if you question them. And if you question classical tyranny, you're a black helicopter person, which just represents the whole shadow government that isn't shadow anymore. It's now absorbing the old republic, and the shadow government is a collaborator group publicly run by foreign criminal Ponzi scheme banks. So let's go to that clip.
Let me read some of the things they're saying about background checks. They say, quote, we, the federal government, want to put every private firearms transaction right under the thumb of the federal government and keep all those names in a massive federal registry. Kind of scary, man. Black helicopter crowd really is upset.
Now let's continue to look at this massive culture of denial. The Austin police chief, who isn't just up there in Washington every other week now, standing behind Biden and Obama, he's now speaking at the lectern with them because I guess they think he's a slick BSer. He's like, come on, we just want to track the criminals. When in every case they register to then confiscate in New York, Chicago, you name it. This is a formula, and he was there that day in Austin next to the city councilman saying, we're going to get your guns after we finish our work of registering. We're going to ban your guns like your sign says, and the crowd roaring and laughing. And then Aceveda comes over to our crew and basically implies, it's ridiculous. Nobody wants your guns. Nobody wants to go after them. Oh, but yeah, the psychiatrist says so, even though there's no court adjudication. Yeah, then you lose your guns as well. It's just truly disgusting how they're selling the cyaniding of our liberties incrementally. So let's go ahead and go to this piece on Art Santa Ana Aceveda, or Aceveda, the federal minion, who is definitely selling his soul out to the globalists right now. It's happening right now, and he's up there on the big stage with Beelzebub himself.
If we stop one child from dying, one police officer from dying, one neighbor from dying, one loved one from dying, it is a small price to pay to go into a gun place to buy a gun, show your driver's license, demonstrate who you are, have someone run you. In most places it's instantaneous. What's wrong with that? Nothing. How do you argue against that?
First of all, to the gentleman that's dying for attention, someone needs to inform them that there is no gun ban currently. But because of the work that we're doing here today, we will make your sign legitimate shortly. So you hang on to that.
Now there's more to this story. Jakari Jackson and David Knight, who were down there filming all of this, witnessed that the Bloomberg-funded Wall Street group was filling out the fake placards to make them look like they were homemade.
You're welcome. Thank you for holding it.
And then the Austin police chief, who's up in D.C. right now lobbying against the Second Amendment with Holder and Obama and the vice president, he came over and told Jakari, hey, I don't want the guns. You don't say that. All he wants is to ban high-capacity mags, that is a ban, and to register everybody so they can confiscate. And Art Aceveda is a really smart guy, so he knows full well what the plan is, and that makes it even more disgusting. So here's a clip of that exchange.
And we've seen in California, they do confiscation. Now, so far, they're just for, domestic abuse cases and things like that. But let's say the laws are passed and they want to ban high-capacity magazines. And if you keep your assault rifles, would you support a confiscation on that?
I really feel very strongly that if we did the things that are pretty common sense in my mind to do better, they wouldn't be talking about. There wouldn't be so much talk about confiscating or be talking about banning assault rifles or high-capacity magazines.
Registration of people who have not been convicted of any crime?
You know what? Personally, I wouldn't have a problem with that because, to me, I register my car for a reason. That is so people know that's my vehicle, belongs to me, and if anybody's found with that vehicle and it gets run, then they know there's a problem. When I sell my vehicle, I do what's called release of liability. I transfer ownership. Again, I know that folks really believe that if we had registration of firearms, that that's the step right before confiscation. And my response to that is the day the government wants to do something silly, like go around to over 300 million Americans and take guns and 300 sets of homes with different people, they'd go house to house anyway.
Guns will be taken. No one will be able to be armed. We will take all weapons.
You know, whether they're registered or not. And I really believe that that will never happen.
That happened today in this wealthy neighborhood where homeowners had armed themselves to protect their mansions. Residents were handcuffed on the ground. In the end, police took their weapons but let them stay in their homes.
They were a little bit threatened because our weapons were bigger than their weapons.
Chris Montgomery says he'd rather be in Iraq than patrolling American neighborhoods.
Walking up and down these streets, you don't want to think about the stuff that you're going to have to do if somebody pops around the corner.
Let me shoot an American.
Yeah.
By the way, that was just a short clip out of a shorter clip from the nightly news that we put out last year, and you notice it had over 2 million views. So the message to you, Arde Saveda, and the rest of you guys is, we know you plan to confiscate the guns. You're like, it's reasonable, just let us do this. What's wrong with registration? We'd come take them if we wanted them anyways. Yeah, but you want to know where they're all at. And you want to make it a felony if somebody hasn't told you where the guns are, so you can persecute us as a class. That's what MSNBC is all about. So we fight with each other over race or religion or where we're from, instead of recognizing as humans, period, that there's a mega global government run by eugenics control freaks that are butchering our checks and balances and our rights that don't come from the Constitution or Bill of Rights. They're pointed out by the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. They're already there. Saveda, while you have your own armed guards, you're protected with security, you've got a gun on your hip that you would ban for us having. You have a gun with a 15-round mag on your side saying, we can't have that. I'm every bit as much a human being as you. Now, I'm not wearing a clown suit. That's where uniforms come from. It's like you make fun of natives wearing big headdresses. Queen of England wears a crown. You've got a hat on with a big eagle, big fascist crown, headdress, ooga booga, hunga, hunga, you know, like something out of Gilligan's Island or something. So I'm supposed to go, oh, let me lick your feet. You're wearing the Praetorian blue of the Praetorian Imperial Guard of Rome. Do you even know that, Saveda? You even know history? Or you just learn how to BS people all day? That's what you're really good at, isn't it? Making them think you're a real person so you can politically stab them in the back. It's disgusting. Look at his little outfit. That's all this is. Now, go to the next guy. Go back to the little OTS we've got right there. I want to show people Santa Ana wearing a little outfit like that. See, the people in the outfits and all the festoon stuff, they get to have guns. Santa Ana got to have guns. But he told the Texans, you can't have them. And they said, you know what? Come and take them. Santa Ana, though, was honest. He said, I'm coming to take your guns, so people understood they were about to become slaves. This is the difference. Imagine if Santa Ana had just written a letter saying, give me a list of everything you got. I don't want to take it. I don't want to take it, but just give me a list of everything you got. And agree that you're going to go to prison if I ever catch you with something I make illegal later. I mean, this is 101 throughout history. They take the arms from people they're going to enslave. They've already stolen your pension funds. It's already all gone, folks. They've already imploded everything by design to make you poor paupers under collectivization for everybody to go on food stamps and to get rid of the middle class. The offshore globalists are going to be exempt from all this. But before they can do all that, they've got to get our guns. But more than that, then those of us that don't turn them in will be the persecuted class, the class they go after, because they know that those of us that have guns know we can't trust the criminal governing class. I mean, this is 101 what is going on here. And it insults my intelligence, and it insults everyone else's intelligence. And you know what? We should play a clip from the local news channel here in Austin who went out and showed what was happening there at the event and spun the whole thing to say the pro-gun people caused a disturbance, when it was actually the anti-gunners coming up with their hands and hitting on them and pushing them and cussing at them, and then the cops come over like, you've done something wrong, you know, to the two pro-gun guys with their sign. And then the news doesn't show that and then says it's not true that someone said that we're going to take your guns after we register them. And it shows a woman saying, you know, we've got to deal with these people that are perpetrating these lies. And then it cuts to the end of what Mike Martinez said to make it look like he didn't say after we register we're going to confiscate, to deceive people. Because you've seen what Martinez really said, and we'll also go ahead and show you this newscast and then a clip after it of what really happened and who really caused the disturbance. So here's a piece of that newscast.
Two gun rights activists interrupted the rally, bringing their own message front and center.
I'm all for stopping crime, but I'm a big supporter of the Second Amendment. I believe it's a cornerstone of our freedom.
The crowd quickly stood up and tried to block their signs. Law enforcement even stepped in for crowd control.
Nobody wants to ban guns here.
Austin City Councilman Mike Martinez even addressed the two men, saying the message on their sign is incorrect.
We will make your sign legitimate shortly. First of all, to the gentleman that's dying for attention, someone needs to inform him that there is no gun ban currently. But because of the work that we're doing here today, we will make your sign legitimate shortly. So you hang on to that.
She has
Hey folks, here's the deal. We're here to talk about the issues that are important to us.
It's not about taking guns away from people. That's not going to do anything to stop crime. They need to hammer the criminals. They need to keep them in jail or prison when they're sentenced, take the revolving door out of the courthouse, get tough on the criminals. A gun is only an instrument. If it were cars they were doing this with, they wouldn't be trying to ban cars or hammers or whatever.
And then on top of all this, they make fun of us when we're concerned about all their deception. And if you know anything about history, when you read the DHS and Homeland Security manuals that are now all over the news, they say all Catholics are extremists next to Al-Qaeda. All evangelicals are extremists next to Al-Qaeda. Prepare to confiscate the guns in the Army manuals. And then we go, hey, you got Army manuals training to confiscate our guns domestically. And they go, well, never mind that. Just let us register. We don't want your guns. It's so incredible. And here's a new article by Kurt Nimmo that's got links to Fox News, Denver papers, you name it. The state police have gone public and said, we're in federal training now where they're asking us, will we confiscate guns from Christians? Now, do you understand how even more illegal that is? It's one thing to say we're going to confiscate guns from the general public. That's unconstitutional. But when you start saying from certain groups, you're talking Nazi Germany type stuff. I mean, you're talking about hardcore, total discrimination. And again, that's why MSNBC is all about racial discrimination or things just to get us all fighting with each other when the system wants to go after people for their political ideas. And some people are going to get creeped out by this and say, oh, well, just let them do whatever they want. This is their own indictment. This is their own confession of what out-of-control authoritarians they are. That behind the scenes, they're training for what can only be called a foreign authoritarian takeover of this country via the federal government and the foreign banks. Here's the article. Colorado troopers trained to consider Christians as dangerous terrorists. Absolutely amazing. And it's all bibliographed. It's all linked to it being announced, to it being reported for anybody out there who is living in denial. And this is game over if people had any survival instincts, if people had any historical reference. But again, like we played last night, it's not just that they're all evil, these mainline Democrats and socialists and anti-gun people. A lot of them think magazines are disposable, so you've got to ban them because they're only used once. A lot of them really are scared of the general public owning guns because they're such cowardly, ineffectual people who've never lived a life. They are scared to death. They think only specialized men in toilet attendant, uniforms like Arte Saveda are allowed to have guns. They see him with a gun, they feel safe. It's like in Nazi Germany, you see the Jews in the famous film reels. We need to dig those up and show them. They'll bow to the Nazis as they run into a sand pit where there's already dead bodies everywhere to be polite to the end with their hat. Oh, hello, sir. And then they'll run down, and women with babies, and they're like very polite. Oh, thank you. They shoot them. And then that's the Nazis are like good citizens. Good. Well, if I see you shooting people in a pit, I'm going to act like I'm nodding to you, and I'm going to run over and I'm going to attack you. But see, in the future, you'll be wearing a shock collar that Homeland Security is developing, or a shock bracelet. They'll be like, get in the pit. I mean, and by the way, they are training to kill us. Just go to our video, Army trains to kill Americans in mass that don't turn in guns. I mean, this is a nightmare. People are like, this guy's scary. This guy's spooky, like Glenn Beck says. I'm not spooky. I'm in the Army manuals where they're training to kill us. It's treason. I can't believe we put up with this much, but that's how tyranny works, because the authority figure says so that's the way it is. Now, moving along to the brainwashing. Texas professor forced class to create anti-gun material. Official complaint filed over the use of students for personal political campaigning. Well, that's what the national slavery is about. That's what the National Compulsory Service is all about. You will do what the cultural Marxists say. And again, they're just a gang hired by the foreign banks to come in and implode the country. A professor at Midwestern State University is under investigation following an official complaint logged by a student who claimed that the class was forced to create anti-gun material and photograph doing so in order to make it appear that they were behind a campaign opposing firearms on campus. Again, it's all about deception. Rules for radicals, Saul Alinsky. Man, I'm telling you, these people are dangerous. They are full tilt boogie here. Yeah, they make them create this so they can then go out to the Bloomberg marches. This is being done everywhere, and have what looks like original signs. This is slavery, paying for an overpriced degree that is going to be worthless in 90% of the cases. Again, slave to the college loans. I mean, they know what they're doing. Let's move to this next piece. And you won't have a choice because the only jobs are going to be in government and select corporations. School. Americans don't have a right to bear arms. Here's another report. A father of a Connecticut child is furious after discovering that his son's school is teaching students that Americans don't have a right to the Second Amendment to bear arms. Well, yeah, they're teaching total tyranny everywhere. They're a pack of criminal liars. They're moving on every front. It's a military collectivist operation. Just like the very same major banks in the U.S. and England funded the Bolshevik Revolution, now declassified, and funded putting Mao in. They are funding a group to destroy the middle class and collectivize America and have a red terror in America. Again, communism isn't even real. It's a season they bring in. It's Jacobin French Revolution crap. Study it. And then they bring it in, they re-educate, they break everything down, then they bring in slave factories and big rich guys fly around in helicopters above you. I mean, it's just so sick what's happening. I mean, it's textbook. Now, I'm just here trying to break people out of their trance. New York police confiscating firearms for people taking anti-anxiety medication. We broke this by linking to local news in New York. And then by breaking it, we broke it nationally, thanks to the Drudge Report and others. And now they're saying they're going to go after everybody who's ever taken any anti-anxiety, any psychotropics. They're now saying if you ever were given Valium for stress, your guns are gone. No judge, no jury. Your kid plays with a water gun, we're taking your guns. No judge, no jury. SWAT team's coming. No judge, no jury. No due process. You don't get your guns back. Because guys in uniforms and wearing headdresses tell you they're better than you. I'm almost thinking I should start wearing crowns. I kind of get what the rappers are doing. They got it, that wearing big gold chains and gold crowns like Flavor Flav, people actually bow to that. I mean, I should just show up. I'm thinking about buying the most clowny, like Mexican general thing with 8 stars or something, and showing up at an Arte Saveda event and going, I am in charge because I am the king of the universe. In fact, I want to buy from a costume shop a pretty nice uniform. And I'm going to now have a character called King of the Universe, where I will show up at city council and go, I'm wearing something fancier than you. Bow to me. I am on a raised dais in my mind. Because you go to the city council now, if you even accuse them of anything bad, they have cops throw you out in Austin and all over the country. They're authoritarian punks, man. Living off our money. Slavery. Oh, but you only know about the old flavors. This is slavery. Slavery. And bending over only invites it. The Austin police go, you can't hand out your magazines in Austin now or have bumper stickers on your car. Here's a ticket. I had to go down and threaten to sue them. They backed off. But they still tried it. And the cops are like, we don't like it. We're told to. You're a slave. Stop being one. Amazing. Continuing here, America has hired death squads and torture teams are still operating in Iraq out of AlterNet. And this is absolutely true. They hired Venezuelan, Nicaraguan, all sorts of death squads decades ago to do work in other Latin American countries. Now they've been hiring Latin American death squads again, sending them over there, and they have giant CIA command bases with over 10,000 CIA agents, over 50,000 mercenaries, U.S. mercenaries. Total, they estimate 200,000 mercenaries, one kind or another, over there, just torture, secret arrest, running it 24/7. Making Saddam Hussein look like an angel cake. And believe me, there won't be any HBO specials about this. Death squads, torture, secret prison in Iraq, and General David Petraeus are among the featured atrocities in a recent released new British documentary, James Steele, America's Mystery Man in Iraq. I want to get him on, guys. The result of a 15-month investigation by Guardian Films and BBC Arabic exploring war crimes, long denied by the Pentagon, but confirmed by thousands of military field reports made public by WikiLeaks. And here's the most important thing I've said tonight. If our so-called government, run by ruthless globalists, we've been captured, has funded 200,000 mercenaries with torture zones declassified and leaked all over Iraq where they torture kids in front of their parents and where there's checkpoints and gun confiscation, you don't think they wouldn't want to do that in America? The globalists do this everywhere they're in control. The globalists put Mao Zedong into power. Our government did. So he could kill between 65 and 80+ million people. They estimate different estimates. The Chinese say 80 million. Mao was so bad, they basically arrested his wife and kicked him out. Even the communists were sick of being, I mean, 80 million, man, that's a lot. That's where this road goes. It's where it ends. Everywhere the globalists are in control, this is what they do. I mean, it is just so amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I'm going to talk more about this tomorrow on the radio. This is so important. All right, here is my quote of the day. Hosea 4:6, King James Version, my people perish from lack of knowledge. And you look at how pitifully ignorant all of the people are that are going along with this agenda, even the ones that are criminals, even the ones that get off on the power of being under the wings of the New World Order and feel like they're on the winning team, they still have no idea where this is really going. The Germans were deceived and signed on to Hitler. 20 million of them died. Some estimates are 22 million. And everybody else that signed on to really bad stuff like this has been destroyed. Ladies and gentlemen, the most evil I've ever seen is being conjured in this country, is being set up, is being established. And the people are perishing because of lack of knowledge. My friends, I know that knowledge is power. And I'm up here exhausted doing this nightly news tonight after I did almost 4 hours on the radio. And I'm not saying feel sorry for me. I am putting in the full exertion that I can. Teleprompter free, trying to warn you. And I know most of you out there understand what I'm talking about. It's real. You've experienced it. But the denial of some of the viewers out there is what's going to destroy us. Folks, we're in deep trouble. You'd have to be crazy to deny it. But people give into lies, give into corruption, more and more and more, until they've committed to so many lies, they can never wake up. And that's what creates the race to the bottom. That's what allows the very worst people to take control, because everybody else just bows to them because, well, you're the authority. You're the king. You say, I've got to give my kids to Pharaoh to be sacrificed, my firstborn. I mean, Pharaoh says he's a God man. Well, I stand for the belief that the Pharaoh is not God and the president is not God. And I know that's the truth. And I know that pharaohs create nightmares for the general public. And I don't want to be a slave under Pharaoh. And I'm getting off the plantation. And you have to make that decision. You can lie to yourself all day. You can be a house slave in the New World Order. You can feel like you're on a winning team. But deep down, you know you're not. And you know that you have anxiety when you think about serving the darkness. Because you know where that leads. If you have a heart and a soul left, if you haven't been totally turned over to evil, I know that deep down intellectually, but also in your gut, the good sense God gave you, you know I'm telling the truth. Believe me, folks, it's so bad I can't even come up with words to describe how much proof it is. It's oceans of evil, oceans of lies, oceans of corruption, just sea after sea of fraud and deception, all run by giggling, hunchback nobodies. Dr. Evil lookalikes like Mike Martinez, and it's silver-tongued psychos like Arte Saveda, and just openly possessed demons like Dianne Feinstein and Bloomberg and Michael Moore, just salivating. If Harry Reid's grandkids were all killed, he'd ban the guns. while he's got bodyguards all around him. Piers Morgan has armed bodyguards at his stinking house. He was behind the scenes at a gun shoot in Texas going, man, I'd love to have guns to live in Texas. This is awesome. I talked to people that were there. And more than that, I got the footage. We're still looking if we're going to air that or not. It's surveillance footage. The point is these people are sick. They have an instinct to, I'm going to dominate this person. See, with my wife and the girlfriends I had before I got married, I just like being nice to a woman. I like them having a good time. And you know what makes me happy is them feeling good. The whole fun is about the woman wanting you. But see, there's a lot of people that want to make the woman do what they want. That's what's fun to them. Not being with the woman. It's throwing the woman down and taking her and dominating her. Because those are men that can't get women. And that's exactly what the New World Order is. If you get down to the final genetic equation, they're gangs of nobodies that get together to come and dominate greater men. That's what it is. That's what it is, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not going to sit here and take it anymore. Now, I want to go to a piece here that our new reporter, Leanne McAdoo, put together with Darren McBreen and the rest of the crew, and I think as her maiden field report, it's excellent. In fact, I don't usually hand out a lot of assignments, but I said, you know what, I like this Penn and Teller piece from 9 years ago, and I've actually talked to people on the street that say ban dihydrogen monoxide, which is water. So I said, I would like to see you go out on the street and recreate this. And then I said, next, I want Jakari and David Knight and Darren McBreen and John Bound and other reporters to go out and say, let's ban sodium chloride. Let's ban carbon dioxide, which they are trying to do, which plants breathe. Because banning water is just as crazy as banning carbon dioxide. People go, well, it has a scarier sounding name. Really? Dihydrogen monoxide sounds even scarier than carbon dioxide. And so they went out and she said the vast majority, I mean, she talked to a lot of people, so many we can't even show them all, almost all of them. I think she said one guy came back and said, wait a minute, isn't that water? So here is this report, and that goes back to the quote, my people perish for lack of knowledge. My people perish for lack of knowledge. Now, if I was a con artist, I would feel good. These people don't even know what water is. I can tax them for that. I can selectively ban that and shut down anybody I don't like. But instead, I'm like, hey, this is water. And they get angry. They don't want the knowledge. They think you're showing off giving them knowledge. So here is the piece. Environmentalists call for the ban of water. And why not? They've already called for the ban of carbon dioxide. We'll be a dead planet if they do that. But all those that hate me love death. So saith the Lord. So here is Leanne McAdoo's field report, one for the record books.
So about 10 years ago, Penn and Teller set about to prove that some Americans can be really gullible when it comes to saving the planet. And we figured, you know, it's been about 10 years. People are more awake. They're starting to ask questions. Certainly, I couldn't get them to sign this petition to ban dihydrogen monoxide. That's right. I'm going to see if people are gullible enough to ban water. Can I get you to sign my petition?
Do I have to read along?
I'm trying to get them to ban dihydrogen monoxide. It's an additive in certain junk foods. And basically, we're trying to get enough signatures to get them to ban it.
Sure.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Well, good luck.
I mean, if you want to read, otherwise you can just take my word for it.
What's the source of the hydrogen monoxide? Where's it coming from?
Well, it's one of the major components of acid rain. It doesn't come off, like, obviously when you go to wash your fruit. It's just everywhere now. We need it out of here.
I will help you out.
It's now being dumped into lakes, rivers, and streams.
Okay.
So, of course, with our whole system, it then gets in the air.
Yep.
Thank you. It causes excessive sweating, so you might already be suffering from this chemical. DHMO is being dumped into rivers and oceans and streams and Town Lake. What are you doing? Fill with dihydrogen monoxide!
Hydrogen monoxide?
Dihydrogen monoxide?
Wow, okay. I've never heard of it.
Tell you what I'll do. I'll look it up.
Okay.
But I'm not going to sign it.
Okay.
Thank you.
I look like I'm up to something, don't I?
Hold on, real quick, Mom.
And I'm basically just trying to collect enough signatures to get them to put it on their docket and consider it seriously.
Sure.
She was on the phone, so apparently if someone's distracted and then you get them to sign something, that works too. They don't typically tell you they're poisoning you.
Yeah.
If I can get 1,000 signatures,
I was a chemistry
then...
major, so I figured.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been a while though.
Well then, so can I get your support?
Can I read this?
Sure.
7, 8,
If we can collect enough signatures, then they'll actually take it seriously.
Okay. That way you can voice it?
Exactly.
Okay.
Where'd you go to school? Cornell?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh. Symptoms include excessive urination, sweating, bloating. The Environmental Regulatory Committee should be overseeing it and sort of...
Okay.
Come on, people! 10 years later, under the guise of saving the planet, and you'll still sign anything, especially if you don't have time to actually read the facts. This was a 300-page paper being passed in Congress. I mean, you'd definitely stop to read what you were signing, wouldn't you? Actually, maybe you wouldn't if you were a politician.
Wow, what an incredible report. And it is so important that we get this video out to everybody, because despite the fact that Penn and Teller's report was seen by millions on HBO and millions on YouTube, still people say ban dihydrogen monoxide and ban carbon dioxide and ban sodium chloride. I guess Bloomberg is trying to ban sodium chloride salt in New York. Because if the control freak social engineers can get you to accept asinine things, they can get away with anything. That's what this is all about. So great job with the crew on that front. Let me leave you in this segment before we come back with some of the crew looking at the amazing film entries for Operation Paul Revere. Let me leave you with America's 4th President, James Madison. History records that the money changers have used every form of abuse, intrigue, deceit, and violent means possible to maintain their control over governments by controlling the money and its issuance, James Madison. And because if they do that, they own the world. The globalists issue the fake currency. They get our governments to accept it. And then the only way they get full control after that is imploding the economy so that you have to go into debt to them for the fiat currency. So there's only so much they can buy up with the fiat, because you can still work for their fiat as their slave and still go buy something. So now under Agenda 21, they're taking that away, where selectively they can say all carbon dioxide is banned when we say so. So they exempt themselves, but then you can't have carbon dioxide. So it's a way to shut everything down. It's called slavery. That's what I've been breaking down here tonight. So we're going to go to break, and we're going to come back with the crew in here showing some of the amazing entries for Operation Paul Revere. And please support the broadcast. Please, if you're watching, get a PrisonPlanet.tv membership and pay it forward. $5.95 a month is 11 memberships. 11 people can log on with the same username, passcode. Operation Awakening the Sleeping Giant. If you have a membership and haven't shared it, share it today. If you've got the means to support us, go buy 10 memberships. And that's over 100 people that can then watch. And then we pay it forward and put it out on YouTube and everywhere else a few days later to wake up millions of other people. So if you are a YouTube viewer or watching us on other systems, become a member. It takes about a minute to sign up, PrisonPlanet.tv or InfoWarsNews.com. And understand you are funding the very tip of the spear. I mean, we're maniacs, folks. I'm a maniac. I mean, I'm really into this all the way. You know that. I'm going in kamikaze style in the info war, 110%. My goal is to become so dangerous and vicious to the enemy that they're forced to come after us. And they know that. That's why they haven't. And again, I don't even look forward to that happening. But that's when you know you're, I mean, they're trying all sorts of stuff behind the scenes, black ops, tricks, scams, you name it. And that just means I'm over the target. It's like when my grandpa was flying in out of North Africa over Italy, bombing German sites. And a B-17, man, they knew when they were coming over the site because it was just guys, toom, 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 toom. And if my grandpa could sit there and fly over people shooting at him at some faraway war in a Hitler the globalist even created, why can't I fight when the true attack is happening here right now? I mean, it's that simple. We're flying into the flat cloud, ladies and gentlemen, so support us, put fuel in our tanks, put ammo in our 50 cals in the info war. Become a PrisonPlanet.tv member today. Go to the online video store, bookstore, buy all the books, the videos, the water filters, all of it, so I can pour money into this operation. High-quality products, then you fund our operation. We defend the Republic. Win-win, win-win, win-win-win. Subscribe to the Infowars magazine, the March issue. All right, we're going to go to break and be back with the crew.
Hi, Ted Anderson, president of Midas Resources. With over 30 years of experience in the precious metals business, I can tell you without a doubt, we are facing the most dangerous and volatile times, not just in the United States, but worldwide. Peace of mind is gold and silver. Now is the time to invest in gold. When it comes to bullion coins, our prices are competitive and the closest to melt. If it's numismatics you're looking for, we have some of the best deals out there. Visit MidasResources.com today or go to Infowars.com and click on the link to see our daily specials. Here's an example of one of our long-term specials we've been offering for more than a year. 2 silver dollars from the turn of the last century, plus 2 powerful films, The Obama Deception and The American Dream. We also add in the book Dishonest Money, all for $72 and free shipping. The most trusted name in precious metals is Midas Resources. Call 1-800-686-2237 or go to Infowars.com. I'm Ted Anderson with Midas Resources.
We are now only entering the edge of a global financial superstorm, the likes of which the planet has never seen. Here in the United States, the private Federal Reserve is giving more than $85 billion of taxpayer money a month to themselves and other offshore foreign banks. And the worst part is, we have to pay the bank's interest on the money we give them. There is now a race between the global central bank mafia cartels to see who can devalue their country's currencies the fastest. We are already seeing big increases in inflation at the grocery store and the gas line. This will eventually lead to hyperinflation. More than a dozen top globalists like George Soros have been buying record amounts of gold while at the same time bad-mouthing it to the public. Don't just listen to what they say. Watch what they do. For more than 6,000 years of recorded human history, gold has been the ultimate hedge against uncertain times and inflation. Before investing in metals, it is important to do your own research and find a reputable company. Midas Resources has the highest Better Business Bureau rating of an A+. Unfortunately, very few precious metal companies can boast that. Midas Resources has assembled one of the most educated, researched, and professional teams of brokers in the industry. The evidence is overwhelming. In uncertain times, gold and silver is safe harbor. Now is the time to invest in gold. Call 800-686-2237 and Midas Resources will mail you 10 reasons to own gold absolutely free. No shipping. It's absolutely free. And finally, Ted Anderson wants to challenge you to find any deal that comes close to his 2 silver dollars at cost with free shipping, with 2 free films and a book for $72. That's more than $160 value for $72 shipping included. Click the link at Infowars.com to go to the MidasResources.com specials page. Brought to you by MidasResources.com and Ted Anderson, the trusted name in precious metals.
Welcome back to the Infowars Nightly News. I'm Rob Dew, sitting in. We're doing that weekly segment that we've been doing, and thanks to Alex for doing the news segment before that. And if you stay tuned after this, he's got a little special message for you. But right now, I'm sitting here with David Knight and Jakari Jackson, and we're going to talk about this latest crop of just amazing videos that we keep getting sent for this Operation Paul Revere contest, right, David?
Yeah, we got 4 of them. They're really good.
Yeah. Let's go right into it because we don't have much time. Right. We're trying to shorten the show to make it nice and concise. We're going to go to short satire on the nanny state, and this has some great footage of a couple going to a restaurant.
Yeah, first comedy we've done.
Yeah, and let's just go to the clip and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
Right.
Here we go.
I'm so glad I don't have to keep looking at these want ads anymore. You know what? Get ready, we're celebrating. I made reservations at that fancy seafood restaurant you've been dying to try.
The Sappy Snapper.
That's the one. I know it's been tough with me being unemployed for the last 19 months, but that's over now and we have something to celebrate.
But Paul, what about your 36% pay reduction and the increased payroll taxes and the extra state tax? I mean, can we even afford to go out?
For this special occasion, yes.
Okay. Welcome. Right this way. Paul, did you see the sign out there about the lobster? The federal government has prohibited lobstermen from trapping, so they don't even have lobster on the menu. I hope they still have the snapper.
I just read that article from PETA, and they said that lobsters have feelings. So I guess it's inhumane to, like, throw them in a pot of boiling water. I mean, I think PETA had something to do with it. I don't really believe in conspiracy theories, though. Thank you.
Your server will be right with you. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm MJ and I am your waiter. Chef does have some specials tonight. We have the swordfish, $7.96, $36.29. We have Chilean sea bass, $9.69, $36.28. And scallops, maple glazed with mushroom risotto, $6.96, $36.27.
Thank you. Could we have a water while we look over the menu?
Certainly. So glad you asked. We're only permitted to serve water on request. Environmental issues.
So if you don't know what those numbers mean up there, you're going to have to go watch the video because I know what they mean, but I'm not going to tell you, right?
And the movie, the clip is so accurate. You got these people and say, like, let's go out and celebrate. Like, what's there to celebrate about? Yeah. We don't have any money.
There you go. What do we celebrate? It's the total
I'm trashing the show.
Oh my God, here he is.
Hey. No, I'm sorry, you guys are having so much fun in here. No, I mean, in Austin, they say, are you sure you want that water? It's not good for the earth.
I know.
Everything in that's what's really happening.
And it's fluoridated, too, on top of that in Austin. You know, they want to give you that water, and you have to ask for it, but it's also poisonous. So
that's right.
Yeah, bring your life straw with you.
You have to ask to be poisoned. That's how they get around
Please, just give me some poison, please. So let's move. That was a great one. That was from Derek Cummings. And go check out all these. They're on. We're going to have these up on in an article tomorrow.
Yeah, have them up on an article.
Yeah, and we'll put links to them in this YouTube video so you can go watch the whole things just so you know what you're looking at. Next one we're going to go is Freedom by Steve Bates, and this is a documentary piece.
Yeah.
It starts off, kind of moody, getting you into it. I thought he did a really good job on that, so let's go to the clip right now.
Being young and full of energy, I took any job that managed to fall into my lap, such as a short order cook, a carnival ride operator, and even front office work at a recording studio, where, at age 19, I was witnessing up-and-coming Canadian rock bands signing multi-million-dollar recording contracts. As with everyone else, society incorrectly instilled in me at a very early age that earning money was apparently the entire meaning of human life on this planet. Money represented everything of importance to my human existence, including my food, my clothing, my housing, and yes, even my ability to attract girlfriends. So, if money was at the core of my existence and provided for the basics to sustain human life in a humanitarian-based nation such as Canada, it made me question why then Prime Minister Brian Mulroney introduced GST, a 7% federal sales tax on every good and service that I paid for. This was on top of the 8% provincial sales tax and 22% income tax that I was already paying, and it amounted to a grand total of 37% taxation on my right to human life. But after the 1991 recession, that was apparently brought on by the Gulf War, life went on for me, and I just had to get used to the idea of accepting a lower standard of living in a country that is unbelievably rich in natural resources. Fast forward 10 years and several job changes later, as with most people, my life was changed forever by the horrific events of September 11, 2001. While attempting to get ready for work that day, I watched the buildings fall on live TV. Even at the time, I felt that something was off. But I went to work that day, and by the time I came home, Bush was on TV supplying us with the official narrative. Fast forward 7 years, 4 maxed out credit cards, and 2 divorces later, in October 2008, a coworker emailed me a Google video link to a documentary film by a man named Alex Jones. This film was called Terror Storm, A History of Government-Sponsored Terrorism. That night, I sat down at my computer with a 6-pack of beer and an open mind, and I watched the whole thing. This film blew my mind, as I just could not get out of my head the possibility of having been lied to about 9/11.
Wow, that was pretty good, David. What do you think of that one?
I like that. It's a personal story. It's a guy's personal story. He talks about, we had to just take a very short excerpt out of it. Right. But he talks about his early life and how his values change and how he wakes up and that sort of thing. And he talks about, right at the point where we clip it, he starts to talk about how he began making videos and how he came to realize that truth is equal to freedom. So it's a very good film.
You know where I was on 9/11?
Where were you?
I'm going to tell you. I was in the first house I bought. I woke up late for work, and I was getting phone calls. People kept calling me, and they're like, do you know what's going on? I'm like, no. My mom's like, turn on the television. We've been attacked by terrorists. Where were you on 9/11?
I was in high school, and we saw the second plane hit live.
They turned it on all the TVs, right? 3, 2, 1, contact.
Yeah,
Here it is.
They stopped the school day, which is so unusual. They didn't even do that when the Oklahoma City bombing came. You know, we're in Oklahoma, so we watched it, but not everybody did that. But the whole school, everybody turned on the TV, and we saw the second plane hit live, and then it fell down, or fell down.
Had relatives call us and said, turn on the TV, and I said, we don't have one. So I had to catch it later.
Who is it? John Bound said he was out camping on a long camping trip, and he walked into town 2 weeks later, and he's like, what's going on here? And then finally somebody told him what was going on. So, hey, I think under the comments, out there, why don't you write your comment where you were on 9/11 so we can all, they do that with JFK and all those seminal events.
Did you think something was up?
Right. I didn't. I kind of bought it for a little bit.
Yeah, I did too.
But then I started... Well, I'd already been listening to Alex Jones, but I'm like, what is Alex Jones saying about this? And he was on day one saying, it's a false flag. This is an inside job. And
I've heard the rebroadcast. The rebroadcast of Alex Live was great.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, amazing stuff. And that was over 10 years ago now. It seems hard to believe. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. This is a rap video, pretty good rap video by Steve Grant. Looks like he works out a little bit. Drinks his One World Way and all that.
About soft kill.
Yeah, it is. Pretty good. So let's go to that now.
The family of a little girl who developed autism-like symptoms after receiving 5 vaccinations in one day.
Chemtrails are real. And then you show the satellite photos of the chemtrail sprays everywhere, how all the lines, like spider webs, cover up cities. I mean, they are manipulating the planet.
Concentration camp, time to put your flags down, stop this flavor, man. We have 55 trillion, 6.9 billion, divided by our lives, we all die by the millions. The realest that's going on is right in front of you.
more efficient ways of killing your fellow humanity and poisoning them ever more efficiently. What are you doing? You have children, you have grandchildren, you are destroying their world. Look in the eyes of your children.
Pretty good fighting music, I'd say.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty good. I was wondering if he had any police activity, because they may have saw what he had going on out there. And
who's hanging from your tree, sir?
Yeah, what's going on back there?
Yeah, yeah. And then, well, I guess we didn't even show this clip, but if you keep watching, there's some great anonymous
yeah, right at the point where we cut it, there's a real nice shot there that he did where you see his T-shirt's got the Guy Fawkes mask.
Right.
And there's some people in the foreground. And it kind of changes that pace there. I think the thing that hit home with me about that was the speech they had of David Icke's.
Right.
Coming from an engineering background, I have seen it so many times, and even in myself, you know, you look at something like that and DARPA comes to you with a project, and your first instinct is to say, well, I got to make that work. You know, I could do this, I could fix it. Instead of looking at the longer view.
And this is great money.
Yeah.
You look at the money and the contract and stability.
Well, you know, it's the same sort of thing they do with soldiers, right?
Yeah.
They get soldiers who have this protective instinct, you know, and they put them in a situation, and they're caught up in the moment, and they're not thinking about the bigger picture. They do the same. People see that all. There's been movies made about that. Nobody has made a movie about engineers who get caught up in this stuff. The only time I've ever
chemtrail
seen,
engineers.
Yeah, but the only time I've seen that mentioned was in the latest Born movie, right?
Oh, yeah.
Where he gets this one lady who's involved in the experiments, and he says, you know, think about what you're doing. You know, she's still caught up in the technology of it. Right.
How great it is.
Is that Born Supremacy?
Born Supremacy. Yeah. That's the movie.
Born Ultimatum.
Alex took us. Or Born Ultimatum.
I interrupt my own. Yeah. What's the newest one?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was Supremacy.
Well,
Must have been Born Supremacy.
The newest one with the guy that's in Hurt Locker is really accurate.
Yeah.
How they use viruses to reprogram the brain.
Exactly. Exactly.
And the drones.
And how the engineers just get caught up in the technology. They don't even think about it.
And those guys thought they were on the winning team, too, and all of a sudden they're getting drone attacked.
This is off topic, but my favorite scene in that movie is where they go to the lady's house, and that guy killed everybody because of you, and then they sit her down in the chair, and they put the gun in her hand. This is going to help you out. You know, they're trying to kill her.
You're like, wait a minute. I don't want to die.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Totally crazy. Well, Steve Grant, concentration camp, and that's another submission in Operation Paul Revere. Tell them quickly how to submit and how to get everything going in the process.
It's very easy. All you have to do is just send an email to Paul Revere at Infowars.com and send us a link to your YouTube posting and one other site. And that's really all you have to do. You have to follow some rules. They're at Infowars.com/contest. And those rules are not really very difficult to follow. There's not a lot there. You just have to send us those 2 links. You don't have to fill out any applications. If you're a finalist, we'll contact you with some licensing information just to make sure that you created this stuff and that you're going to release it for us to show. But one of the things that confuses people, I wanted to show in this next spot here, we've got a little bit, at the beginning of this next video, the guy did a good job of the slate. And a lot of people have asked us, you know, what is the slate? What do you want on the slate? Really, we're just looking for some information about you. And you can put it in the description, you can put it in the slate.
Yeah, here
we want to know. Yeah, we want to know exactly, you know, as much as you can tell us, did you get clearance for these clips? Did you get clearance especially for the music? Because music is something that they're on like a cheap suit. I mean, you know, Google and all these people, they're really, MPAA, really on the music. So you got to be careful about that. So we want a little bit of information about that. This next guy on this clip, he shows, you know, who did what and the different things that he did, and it's a really nice job of editing. Let's take a look at that.
Excellent cinematography. Edwin Kasabuki, 8 Steps to Empire, The Culture Wars. We're just going to show you the intro here, but this guy's talented. That's all I'm going to say. He's very talented, so here we go.
Yeah.
My modest claim is that advertising is the most powerful and sustained system of propaganda in human history. cumulative cultural and political effects, unless very quickly checked, will be responsible for destroying the world as we know it.
I'm here to be a martyr for show business. One of many from history that gives their life for show business.
If you want to understand the storytelling process in this culture, then you've got to look at the main storytellers. Who tells the stories most of the time? And the storytellers in this culture are those people that have the money.
All these different systems that you think are all different, see, communism, capitalism, fascism, socialism, and it's on and on and on it goes. All the isms are all the same thing.
500 million people give you their personal information.
Eventually, the idea when you walk up to your TV, it knows who you are and watches you. Becoming a reality.
If you see something suspicious in the parking lot or in the store, say something immediately.
Man, I tell you, that's gonna. I have a feeling that one's gonna make the finals.
That was definitely very impressive.
Wow.
Very impressive.
Yeah,
Very good
I
editing.
I can't wait to see the rest of it. And you out there, if you're watching this on YouTube now, we're going to put the links down at the bottom of the description. The links to these 4 that we just showed you. There's more. If you just do a search for Infowars.com and Paul Revere, you'll bring up the other, you can see the other submissions. Once we get them in April 30th, right, that's the cutoff date, we're going to have a whole list of the ones that we think are in the finals, and it's going to take a couple months. Yeah. It's not going to be anything quickly, don't worry. We're going to show more of these. We're going to put more articles out. We're going to, really celebrate what these guys have done and get these people some views. I mean, some of these only had 500 views, which is still good, even if you're in a regular film contest. And
there's some
500 people aren't seeing your film.
Right, and there's some that we've had a lot that have been put in that are not real high production values, but they've got good information on them.
Yeah.
So we're going to be putting those up on the website as well.
Yeah, that's my point, is that it's always got to be over the top. Everybody that entered this is a winner, and then we're going to take the very best stuff, play it on the air, play it on the radio. We're going to take all this great info and make sure everybody's a winner in resisting the globalist. Because that's what this is all about. And then finding filmmakers to come join our team. It's exciting.
Yeah, it is. I mean, especially after seeing, these last few weeks, just looking at the stuff. I haven't really had the time to really look at this stuff. You have, well, you've been forced to because you're in charge of the contest. Project, but you're saying that more submissions are coming in now. It's getting faster and faster, and you're even looking for some help too.
And I just want to. We had some confusion. I saw some of the comments. Some of the people thought that the videos we show here on the nightly news are the finalists.
Oh, no.
These are just videos we like. So if you watch this, the contest is far from over. You still have time. These aren't the finalists. These are just some of the better videos that we had a chance to look at.
And we've been picking on ones that have really good production values because we want to give you guys an idea of how to pick up your game.
Yeah.
A lot of guys out there, they've got really good content, and they need to get their production value up so they can get a wider viewership.
Going back to Steve Grant's video, I was just noticing how he was doing his moves and stuff in front of those monitors and having that choreographed. That is very hard. I don't think people realize how hard it is. You have to play the clip, make sure it's in the right spot as you're walking in front of it or whatever. And that takes a lot of, timing and patience, and you need several people coordinating stuff. So that in itself is a production skill that people might not even realize that takes a lot of work.
Yeah, even before you get into post.
Exactly. All right, well, that's about it for the show tonight. Actually, stay tuned. We're going to have a little message from Alex on top of all the great Alex stuff that we've had already today. He did the news.
I'm putting my sports jacket on. I'm not done.
He's not done. He's coming back. So,
well, the enemy isn't sleeping.
That's right. I mean, we may have smiles on our faces because we enjoy what we do. We enjoy getting the message out there. We enjoy, fighting tyranny every day. And I mean, especially the report you guys did today, I thought doing on the news, that was some great work. Just going out there and really just showing these people for what they really are. They're lying gun grabbers. That's what they are.
And that's what James O'Keefe was talking about from Project Veritas. You just have to go out and confront these people. Because when David and I went out there, we were actually expecting to get the good soundbite from Aceveda, but we got it from the city councilman. So you just never know what you're going to get.
You never know. Have the camera running.
It's a target-rich environment.
That's true.
There you go. All right, that's our show for tonight. If you're watching this on YouTube, please consider becoming a member of PrisonPlanet.tv. It's very easy to do. You just go to PrisonPlanet.tv. You can sign up for a 15-day free trial. Plus, you can share your username and passcode with up to 10 other people. That's a lot of spreading the word. And with that, we'll see you tomorrow night.
You're still there. I feel like this is Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and you've watched the end credits, and I've come back because there was something I wanted to add tonight after the crew just did a superlative job, so I salute you guys and gals out there. You only live once, and this life is a test, and this could be my final message. Probably isn't. One chance in a million it is. But we never know when we're going to die. We never know where we're going to be in a car wreck, or when we're going to have a stroke, or when we're going to break our neck, or when we're going to be killed by the globalist, or when we're going to be struck by lightning. And that's why I work so hard, why I do so many uploads in the middle of the night, why I do all these talk radio interviews, and sometimes get so burnt out that, you know, I don't even come off very well. But that isn't even what it's about. It's about standing up, being conscious, and being involved. And earlier in the show, I was asking people to support us, to spread the word about the transmission, because we're growing by leaps and bounds, because everything we've talked about, unfortunately, is manifesting. Because we had the globalist handbooks. But most importantly is your prayers. I don't believe in prayer. I depend on it. I don't believe it. I know it. I don't believe in God. I know God. There's a big difference. And that's why I don't have any fear. I don't look forward to what could happen to me or my family. But at the same time, there's no future if we don't turn this around. We're cornered, ladies and gentlemen. And I've used the analogy many times of the old movies where they're in the ship and it's turned over and they got to swim out because the water level's rising and they may not make it, but they don't have a choice. And most people are too scared to go swimming. There's true stories about this, to go swimming through the ship to get out. So they stay and die because they can't get over their fear to go down and try to get out. Or it's the old thing of you're in the temple looking for treasure and the walls start closing in on you. You better find the lever to stop it or you're dead. So instead of just panicking and screaming and it crushing us, like the Star Wars trash compactor scene, we need to get out of this. And we get out of it by admitting we're in a trash compactor, admitting the tyranny's happening and saying no to it and not giving it moral authority and just criticizing it. That's why they want to shut down free speech. Just saying no to it brings it to a halt. We've got to put our bodies against the machinery. So please pray for us. We'll pray for you. And realize this is epic, what's happening. And, it's freaky to know that there's Infowars.com, DrudgeReport.com, Oath Keepers, Ron Paul, Rand Paul to a certain extent. He's trying to play ball a little bit, but doing a lot of great work at the same time. I know he's a good man personally, so I overall trust him in what they're doing, trust but verify. But, I mean, there's not that many people that are going toe-to-toe with the globalist. There's not a lot of people that are really realizing how serious it is, because there's that normalcy bias that I talk so much about, where I've read about people being in a wreck and their arm's cut off and they're bleeding to death and they just can't believe their arm has blood spraying out of it, so they don't tie a tourniquet on it and they end up passing out and dying. And, I in my own life have been hurt pretty bad quite a few times, which was terrible at the time, but actually helped me now, because those experiences make you stronger, that when your finger's chopped off or your legs hacked open, you focus, you get control of yourself. And I just see people that are just panicking when they are confronted with the truth, or not helping somebody when they're choking and everybody's saying call 911. this passiveness, this laziness is ensuring the total takeover. And that's all I'm saying. Those of you that are afraid to fight the evil because you're scared it'll come after you, it's going to come because you won't fight it. And so we're standing up here against the enemy knowing that there's no future for anybody if we don't do this. We can't give the world over to the worst minds, the most degenerate control freaks, the most psychopathic people out there. We cannot do it. We have a responsibility to just give it our all, and then that's when you're really alive. And so you never know how long you've got, and personally in your life, and we don't know how long we've got till they do a big false flag. A nuke and say North Korea did it, or maybe have North Korea do it. Turned out there's been secret meetings with the Pentagon and North Korea in March. Our government put the Mao in. Our government, as I talked about earlier, put the mullahs in Iran. Oh, you didn't know that? That's declassified. There's a good chance he was raised in Switzerland. There's a good chance he's a double or triple agent, Kim Jong-un, and that he may play along with the nuke attack. I mean, we don't know. The point is, though, you can't trust the system, and they will stage crises to get you to go along with it. I mean, they're all over the news going, you know what, we're going to take your pension funds now for the earth and for the children, and you know, so some rich banker in London or Israel or France can have an extra $5 billion. So that's the bottom line. I've studied history. I've studied tyrannies. It's fascinating. I studied it when I was young, as a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old, just because it was very interesting reading. But now I understand we're repeating it. And the corruption that's manifesting is the nastiest form of ultra-authoritarian evil that has ever existed. I mean, it's right out of the mind of the devil stuff. I mean, if you don't believe in the devil, that's your issue. This might as well be the devil. The devil's real. Whether you believe it's a spiritual entity or not, humans together are manifesting a spirit that is right out of the worst stuff in the Bible. So that's all I had to say is you never know how long we've got. So if I was you, I would be spreading the word right now like a chicken with your head cut off. And when people, laugh at you or act scared or turn away, it's because deep down they know the truth. And the laughing is a defense mechanism because these people have no respect for themselves. Don't feel bad that people are laughing at you. In the beginning, a patriot's a scarce man, hated and feared and scorned. But in time when his cause succeeds, the timid join him because then it costs nothing to be a patriot. Mark Twain. They know what you're saying is true. You have the courage to speak up and be laughed at. You have the courage to tell the truth. You're not under their mind control. So I salute you. And I salute, again, all our supporters and the crew. I just wanted to ask all of you to pray for us and pray for liberty and pray for all the innocent children, because that's who the globalists really like to target. Most of the minions of the New World Order like to hurt children in one way or another. They love to hurt innocents. It freaks them out to see the goodness of children, to see God in the children. And so every culture wants to chop them up and torture them. I mean, that's what that's radical. Every culture did that. See, you don't know history. Those that don't know history are doomed to repeat it. The people perish for lack of knowledge. I will not give my children to the fires of Moloch with the vaccines. I will not give unto the state and follow their edicts. I know who they are. I know the UN in their biological diversity assessment in '96 in the notes talks about bringing back human sacrifice for Gaia. They want the energy of children. Because the creatures out of whatever dimension that's influencing them like that. And if you don't believe in that, that's your issue. Whatever, they're doing it. And they don't act like humans. Okay? I'm going to tell you, I've studied these people. I've studied the globalists. I've studied their minions. Somebody else is looking out those eyes at you. And I don't like these parasites. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this transmission. Lord willing, we'll see you back on the radio tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central, Infowars.com, and video streams at PrisonPlanet.tv, and back here tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Central, Infowars Nightly News.
It's time for humanity to stand up in the Infowar. You want to fight? You better believe you
No way. All that and more up next on the Infowars Nightly News.
All right, first off tonight, we premiered on last night's news the footage shot here locally in Austin a few days ago by Jakari Jackson and David Knight, where the mayor pro tem and city council member Mike Martinez is trying to win the Santa Ana or King George or Kim Jong-un award, came out and said, hey, we are going to ban your guns once we register them, and the whole crowd laughs and snickers as they assault the two pro-gun people there peacefully with signs. And then the media, local media, lied about them and said that the pro-gun people were bad. Just amazing levels of propaganda. And then Art Aceveda, we're going to get to that piece in a minute, came over to confront Jakari and say, look, tell Alex he's wrong. I don't want a gun ban. I just want to, quote, track criminals getting guns. Yeah, right. When in every case they end up going after the guns. So our story has gone viral, and that video, Democrat admits Obama agenda is a total gun ban. He said, quote, we will make your sign legitimate shortly, which says stop gun ban. And he's saying, obviously we are going to do that next after we register. And they have this double game going where they deny the fact that they want to register and then confiscate, even though that's their official plan. And then when we talk about it, they make fun of us and say it doesn't exist. Like, there's no 2 billion bullets, there's no drones, there's no NSA warrantless wiretapping, there's no TSA sticking their hands down your pants, there's no radiation from the body scanners. Lies, lies, lies on top of lies. And I've never seen the lies at this level, because they're making their full move right now. I mean, hell, they took the Europeans' guns, so now they can take their bank accounts. They're getting ready for that here and openly announcing it. Meanwhile, Joe Biden comes out and says, hey, there's no gun registry. We're going to do a whole piece on this week. The ATF's been caught by Congress, and they keep doing it, keeping an entire list when you do the NICS check with your name, social security number, and the type of firearm you're getting. They ask shotgun, rifle, or handgun, and then they have a record there that also ends up getting digitized in many cases. So it's a complete lie. But his answer is the black helicopter crowd. Of course, in the last month, there have probably been 30 drills we know of with black helicopters. So they're having drill after drill, gun confiscation drills, training that Christians are terrorists, gun owners are terrorists. There's black helicopters crashing, gun confiscation activity going on, and then they just say none of it exists. This is a cult. They want you to buy into the fact that you'll be socially ridiculed if you admit what's going on outside. Classical tyranny unfolding on every front. So here's a video clip of Biden making jokes about the black helicopter crowd. That means the common sense crowd. If you don't trust known liars, you're a conspiracy theorist if you question them. And if you question classical tyranny, you're a black helicopter person, which just represents the whole shadow government that isn't shadow anymore. It's now absorbing the old republic, and the shadow government is a collaborator group publicly run by foreign criminal Ponzi scheme banks. So let's go to that clip.
Let me read some of the things they're saying about background checks. They say, quote, we, the federal government, want to put every private firearms transaction right under the thumb of the federal government and keep all those names in a massive federal registry. Kind of scary, man. Black helicopter crowd really is upset.
Now let's continue to look at this massive culture of denial. The Austin police chief, who isn't just up there in Washington every other week now, standing behind Biden and Obama, he's now speaking at the lectern with them because I guess they think he's a slick BSer. He's like, come on, we just want to track the criminals. When in every case they register to then confiscate in New York, Chicago, you name it. This is a formula, and he was there that day in Austin next to the city councilman saying, we're going to get your guns after we finish our work of registering. We're going to ban your guns like your sign says, and the crowd roaring and laughing. And then Aceveda comes over to our crew and basically implies, it's ridiculous. Nobody wants your guns. Nobody wants to go after them. Oh, but yeah, full well what the plan is. And that makes it even more disgusting. So here's a clip of that exchange.
And we've seen in California, they do confiscation. Now, so far, they're just for, domestic abuse cases and things like that. But let's say the laws are passed and they want to ban high-capacity magazines. And if you keep your assault rifles, would you support a confiscation on that?
I really feel very strongly that if we did the things that
that are pretty common sense in my mind to do better, they wouldn't be talking about. There wouldn't be so much talk about confiscating or be talking about banning assault rifles or high-capacity magazines.
Registration of people who have not been convicted of any crime?
You know what? Personally, I wouldn't have a problem with that because, to me, I register my car for a reason. That is so people know that's my vehicle, belongs to me, and if anybody's found with that vehicle and it gets run, then they know there's a problem. When I sell my vehicle, I do what's called release of liability. I transfer ownership. Again, I know that folks really believe that if we had registration of firearms, that's the step right before confiscation. And my response to that is the day the government wants to do something silly, like go around to over 300 million Americans and take guns, and 300 sets of homes with different people, they'd go house to house anyway.
Guns will be taken.
And no one will be able to be armed. We will take all weapons.
You know, whether they're registered or not. And I really believe that will never happen.
That happened today in this wealthy neighborhood where homeowners had armed themselves to protect their mansions. Residents were handcuffed on the ground. In the end, police took their weapons but let them stay in their homes.
They were a little bit threatened because our weapons were bigger than their weapons.
Chris Montgomery says he'd rather be in Iraq than patrolling American neighborhoods.
Walking up and down these streets, you don't want to think about the stuff that you're going to have to do. Somebody pops around the corner.
Let me shoot in America.
Yeah.
By the way, that was just a short clip out of a shorter clip from the nightly news that we put out last year, and you notice it had over 2 million views. So the message to you, Arde Saveda, and the rest of you guys is...
Good news is though something has happened in the motorcade route. Something, I repeat, has happened in the motorcade route.
Who controls the past, controls the future. Who controls the present, controls the past.
The death of bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat al-Qaeda.
All you got to do is start looking around, start thinking for yourself, start investigating things, and you will see it all right there. So you have the power. Humanity has the power. We have the power. Do you want to fight? You better believe you got one!
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories.
As for me, give me liberty or give me death!
The answer to 1984 is 1776.
Well, my friends, it's April 10th on this Wednesday edition. 5 days from now, many of you that aren't on the welfare system yet, don't worry, the rest of you will be soon enough if the New World Order has its way. It's the time on April 15th when you pay more of your private Federal Reserve notes, I mean, it is their notes, to the private banking cartel. But alas, today is April 10th, 2013, and I am your host, Alex Jones, and this is yet another edition of Infowars Nightly News. And believe me, tonight is a very special edition of the transmission. This and a lot more is coming up.
Tonight, Joe Biden calls Second Amendment advocates the black helicopter crowd.
Kind of scary, man. Black helicopter crowd really is upset.
Then, a DHS-funded course is asking cops if they will confiscate guns from Christians. And environmentalists sign a petition in Austin, Texas to ban water?
The psychiatrist says so, even though there's no court adjudication. Yeah, then you lose your guns as well. It's just truly disgusting how they're selling the cyaniding of our liberties incrementally. So let's go ahead and go to this piece on Art Santa Ana Aceveda, or Aceveda, the federal minion, who is definitely selling his soul out to the globalists right now. It's happening right now, and he's up there on the big stage with Beelzebub himself.
If we stop one child from dying, one police officer from dying, one neighbor from dying, one loved one from dying. It is a small price to pay to go into a gun place to buy a gun, show your driver's license, demonstrate who you are, have someone run you. In most places it's instantaneous. What's wrong with that? How do you argue against that?
First of all, to the gentleman that's dying for attention, someone needs to inform him that there is no gun ban currently. But because of the work that we're doing here today, we will make your side legitimate shortly. So you hang on to that.
Now there's more to this story. Jakari Jackson and David Knight, who were down there filming all of this, witnessed that the Bloomberg-funded Wall Street group was filling out the fake placards to make them look like they were homemade.
You're welcome. Thank you for holding it.
And then the Austin police chief, who's up in D.C. right now lobbying against the Second Amendment with Holder and Obama and the vice president, he came over and told Jakari, hey, I don't want the guns. You don't say that. All he wants is to ban high-capacity mags, that is a ban, and to register everybody so they can confiscate. And Arde Saveda is a really smart guy, so he knows